About 5k's for Wolfe Creek. Wolfe Creek itself is where you can turn off and head towards Wolfe Creek Crater. So Creek, Wolfe Creek, 5k's. Doon. Australia's got all sorts of weird and wonderful names for things. Doon is right up there. Just on the repeated names, we've got Wagga Wagga. On funny names, in Cairns, one of the suburbs is on a beach. It's called Yorkie's Knob. They say it's as bigger than Moby Stick. Iron Knob, of course, denotes a very powerful knob, and that's in South Australia. Of course, there is iron in there, around there, and there was a steel industry at Whyalla. It's still limping along. Australia, on dusk, in the Kimberleys, approaching Wolfe Creek community. The turn off to go, and back there was the turn off to Alice Springs. Just further back towards Fitzroy Crossing, the main turn off to Alice Springs was back there. The Falconio disappearance was big news, and it's a horrible story. So this guy's got a way of pulling people over, faking, something's wrong with their car.
They're in a lovely little orange Kombi on the long straight road from Alice Springs to Darwin. More on the Alice Springs end. They are in the middle of the night, 8 o'clock at night. They are signalled to pull over by another driver because of problems with their car. They pull over. Peter Falconio is standing at the back of the Kombi with this other driver. There's a loud bang, which sounds like the backfire of a car, says Joanne Lees. And she never sees
shot,
Peter again.
Really.
She then,
That's
over the
done.
next sort of 20 minutes or 30 minutes, is then tied up by this guy and assaulted. And she's in fear of her life, I think, rightly, and in fear that she's going to be raped.
She's going to get raped
and
and killed.
Very bravely manages at some point to run off into the bush and hide. And whoever this guy is, he never finds her. He eventually leaves. She flags down a big road train.
I'm not really driven by crime myself. I don't find it all that particularly interesting. But Bradley Murdoch was also known around Fitzroy Crossing.
Time that Bradley had ever hit Diane. Their separation was finalised in 1986. Once his family life was over, Bradley John Murdoch then started driving trucks non-stop. He was described as a model employee and would never say no to work. Finding it hard to actually make a profit in the trucking industry, he also became an illicit drug smuggler and would start running drugs across the country, large amounts of cannabis and speed. Bradley Murdoch at this time was described as bitter, angry and incredibly introverted and defiant. It was also around this time that Bradley's older brother Robert, after a lifetime of battling serious illnesses, died. It was here where Bradley would become more bitter and more antisocial.
So Bradley Murdoch was from Geraldton.
He also became an illicit drug smuggler and would start running drugs across the country, large amounts of cannabis and speed. Bradley Murdoch at this time was described as bitter, angry and incredibly introverted.
With the Peter Falconio disappearance, Joanne Lees, and ultimately it being put on to Bradley Murdoch, it was very famous in itself when it happened at the time. Joanne Lees just got put through the ringer a bit, and not quite as bad as Lindy Chamberlain with the dingo took my baby. Horrible thing that actually it wasn't that far away from here either. At Alice Springs isn't too far away. The turn-off's right here at Wolfe Creek. But yeah, it was very famous at the time. But then again, what happened with this incident is it got made as like the inspiration. It's like based on, they say, a true story. It's basically more of an inspiration of a true story on a movie. A Hollywood type movie.
Joanne Lees's t-shirt that she was wearing. So it's not a spot of blood, it's a sort of a smear of blood.
Yeah.
Must be pretty small. Anyway. And they matched that with the DNA of the man they eventually arrest, Bradley Murdoch.
Oh.
They get an exact match. I said that in the last
Got
episode.
DNA on
I
him.
thought it was off the zip ties, like from touching the zip
Oh,
ties.
was zip
So they
ties?
get the
Was
zip ties as well, and they do get some DNA, but they can't properly test it, so they send it to London, and they do a LCN test, a low copy number test, which was brand new at that stage and has subsequently ruled to be terribly unreliable.
Oh, really?
It's not automatically inadmissible in Australian courts now, but
Is it questioned?
big question marks over it.
That's so...
But
And
they
don't
got
get an
proper
exact match off the
DNA
zip ties, they get a partial match off the
off
zip
him
ties.
anyway
So
on Joanne.
where was he bleeding
So it was him.
Good
Was
question,
him.
Who knows? And
Really?
so that's the evidence.
My
Sorry,
opinion.
the other evidence that Bradley
half
is a
decent,
person of interest, I
scaffy
think,
rigger.
because he has a white utility, which is a
Windscreen, lots of bugs, 30 k's of Halls Creek, just passed on the highway. A dingo well in front of me. I had no chance. I was never going to hit it. It looked purebred. It looked amazing. It looked super, super, super cool, man. You know, dingoes are part of Australia. This was a cool one. I liked it. It was running fast. Kimberley's getting close. Halls Creek.
Set on a small plot of land which he wanted to build a petrol station on. He had even received money from the bank in order to fund the project.
So
Bradley
Joanne
ended up
Lees
losing the land due to Indigenous land entitlement.
abducted and thrown
and he was
into a
unable to
canvas-sided
build his dream
vehicle like
business.
that.
He was incredibly furious and started blaming local Indigenous activists for his problems. On the night of August the 20th of 1995, Bradley was out with mates once again, drinking in Fitzroy Crossing in the Kimberley region. After downing a fair amount of alcohol, he then proceeded to get behind the wheel. During his ride home, however, he was pulled over by the police, and the police informed him that he had to take a long way home due to the fact that there was an Indigenous Aussie rules football game on and that there were celebrations being held.
Wow.
This news ended up sending Bradley over the edge. In a fury, he raced home, grabbed his gun, and then went to the spot of the celebrations and started opening fire at the guests.
That's the incident.
As the guests retreated and tried to take cover, Bradley proceeded to fire off a few more shots at the guests. Soon after, the
So he
6'4"
might have been just
madman
trying to
retreated back
scare
to his
him,
car
but
and raced
still.
out of there as quickly as he could.
Jeez.
The police quickly arrested Murdoch for the shooting.
Oh.
This shooting would land Murdoch inside a Perth courthouse, and he was charged with the assault.
So
He said in court that he had no intention of killing anybody. He only just wanted to frighten the group. But nevertheless,
well, you would have
the
scared the
judge
shit out of them,
passed
mate.
and sentenced Bradley Murdoch to 2 years in prison.
Oh.
But he was released due to good behaviour after only serving 15 months. After his release from prison, he soon quickly went back to driving road trains and transporting legal and illegal goods.